Guys, have you seen Anora? We gotta talk about that ending. Hey, I'm Mike, I studied film, I work in TV, and I love movies. Anora stars Mikey Madison, known best for her role in FX's Better Things and Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She plays a Brooklyn-born sex worker named Anora, or Annie as she prefers to be called. She stars opposite Russian actor Mark Edelstein, who has been dubbed the Russian Timothy Chalamet. He plays Ivan Vanya Zakharov, the son of a Russian oligarch. The pair meet in the strip club where Annie works. She's called in to entertain the entitled Vanya because she's the only girl who can speak Russian. The two form an immediate connection. He hires her to be his companion for the week that he's staying in New York. It's a modern version of Pretty Woman, but instead of Annie ascending to the life of luxury, the two cozy up in the dark underworld of New York strip clubs and after-hour parties. I have to give Madison credit for the Brooklyn accent, which I understand she had to learn for the role. I can't comment on her Russian, which she dips in and out of, but she spent time learning both. Being from New York, I can spot a fake New York accent a mile away, and I appreciate the effort she put in. The two seem made for one another. He's a spoiled rich kid who's only good at spending his father's money, and she's a party girl who fits right in alongside his life of drinking, club hopping, and doing drugs. We follow their brief courtship and watch them genuinely fall in love. Vanya whisks Annie and an entourage of partygoers off to Vegas, and the two make the impulsive decision to get married. Vanya is running from a job at his father's company, and Annie is taking the next logical step for a stripper, it seems, nailing down a rich benefactor who can support her lifestyle. For a hot minute, we're thinking, yeah, these two are made for one another. The story really picks up, though, when word of Annie and Vanya's marriage gets out and his caretakers have to intervene. Vanya flees, leaving 3 thugs to try and take Annie. Good luck with that, fellas. Annie's a tough Brooklyn chick, and she puts up a good fight. Eventually, she succumbs to the thugs. They unceremoniously take her large, expensive diamond engagement ring off her finger and drive her all around Brooklyn looking for Vanya so that they can annul the marriage before his parents arrive from Russia the next morning. The whole time, Annie is insisting she and Vanya are in love and that when they find him, they'll all be in trouble. This is where direction is so important. The film I just described could have been a comedy, in line with Home Alone or Adventures in Babysitting. At its core, it's a very 1980s plot, but in writer-director Sean Baker's hands, it comes alive with real characters, all of whom we have the right amount of sympathy for. The thugs, after all, are just doing their job. The chaotic night has a Reservoir Dogs quality to it, and I quite enjoyed it. We get to know the thugs a little better as that night goes on, and one of them, Igor, grows a soft spot for Annie. He's just arrived in the US and was brought along as muscle, but he's clearly not used to this type of work. They eventually find Vanya just as his parents land, and the group go back to Vegas to annul the marriage. And wouldn't you know it, Vanya flips on Annie. He gives up, as he does with everything else in his privileged life when things get hard. He runs away, gets drunk, he avoids responsibility. But I really want to talk about the ending. After the annulment, Igor, the thug, is tasked with bringing Annie back home. She has nothing. She has fought for what she thought she was owed and lost. Just before he drops her off at her house, he produces the ring that Vanya gave to her. It seems he somehow managed to steal it back. He gives it to her, and she is speechless. What happens next kind of leaves us speechless. She straddles him in the car and mechanically has sex with him. Once the act is complete, she finally breaks down and cries into his chest. We fade to black with no music and just the sound of the windshield wipers going back and forth. Back and forth. My read on the scene is that Igor is looking out for Annie as like an older brother or a cousin would.
You'll get cold if you don't cover your neck.
We're never given any indication there's any sexual tension between them. He's just trying to help her, and she barely gives him the time of day. He is her captor, after all. Annie is so overcome with emotion that she thanks him in the only way she knows how, with sexual favors. It's transactional and cold. Her breakdown comes as she realizes how broken of a person she actually is. When she realizes that normal people can do nice things for one another out of just sheer kindness and don't necessarily require some form of payment in return. She is so used to selling her body that she's convinced that is the only thing she has of value to offer up. I don't think she's used to those feelings, or perhaps she's remembering a time when she believed there was good in the world, and this gesture awakens some long-buried emotion that was stuffed down under a minefield of sarcasm and defensiveness. I have to give huge props to writer-director Sean Baker, though, for not making any of the characters we meet in Anora a caricature. Baker has made a career out of telling stories of marginalized people. His 2004 film Takeout was about the life of an undocumented food delivery man. In 2008, he made Prince of Broadway about a Ghanaian woman selling knockoff merchandise on the streets of New York. Then in 2015, he wrote and directed Tangerine about a transgender sex worker. Baker seems to be an expert on the characters that inhabit the in-between spaces of our society, and Anora is no different. Anora has been nominated for Best Picture, Mikey Madison was nominated for Best Actress, Yuri Borisov is nominated for Best Supporting Actor for his role as Igor, and Sean Baker is nominated for Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Best Editing. Yeah, he did all three. If I had one criticism of the film, it's that it's about a half hour too long. Otherwise, in my opinion, it's a strong contender in all of the categories that it's nominated for at the Oscars. As always, these are my opinions, and I look forward to reading your comments below. Film is about community. I'm Mike, and I love movies.